What is good, internet? It is Spirit of Paradox here, and welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta. So, I have been a Metal Gear Solid fan for pretty much most of my life. This franchise has just been one of those games that I've always just loved. The story, the gameplay, and even the graphics and the cheesiness. So, when it comes down to the Metal Gear Solid franchise, it's been about since the 80s, and we kind of got a conclusion to it with Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and then we obviously had Metal Gear Survive, which was a spin-off, but we don't talk about that. But a few years later, I would say around 2017 or 18, I was hearing rumblings of a Metal Gear Solid remake, but most of us thought it was probably going to be Metal Gear Solid 1. But no, Konami's actually gone the route with Metal Gear Solid 3 because it actually is the earliest point in the timeline in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. In my opinion, I think this is a good decision, and it also allows new players to come in without getting confused with the Metal Gear lore too much. For the most part, the lore, in my opinion, is rich and fantastic, but it can get confusing for new players and even some veteran players, in my opinion. So, starting off with Metal Gear Solid 3 is a very good decision, and is arguably the best one, if not Metal Gear Solid 1 for some people. There is some controversy about the look of the boss's face. Typically, I would agree with a lot of people when it comes down to this topic in other games or in Western games nowadays, in just trying to make women ugly. And no, I don't think this is this situation here, because if you actually play Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, I highly recommend it. You will love that game. It is fantastic. Like, I would say her face, like, in that game, wasn't very attractive, personally. Like, she kind of looked like a 40 to 50-year-old woman. Here, they kind of made her look a bit younger, in my opinion. And I play Metal Gear Solid 3 on a regular basis on my PS5 with a high-end 4K TV with HDR10. Like, I know Wagwan, and when it comes down to this, I don't really see the controversy here, but in other games, yeah, I absolutely agree. But the boss was relatively old looking and not the best looking. I think people loved her character in the universe of Metal Gear Solid for her character, for who she was, and her reputation as a soldier. And it was very influential between the war with Big Boss and Cypher. But other than that, I really am enjoying what I'm seeing here. This is a respectful one-to-one remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. The graphics look amazing. They've added crouch, where you can now walk around in crouch mode instead of being on the spot. Over the shoulder camera view as well. The camos. I think this is going to be fantastic, and if they really do pay respect to the source material, I think this could do really well and really bring back the Metal Gear Solid franchise. And that is something I actually do want to talk about as well, because they have mentioned if this does well, they might do other remakes or even possibly new games, and I would actually say there is room for that. Like, I wouldn't mind getting a remake for all of the games, even some of the spin-offs as well, like Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Peace Walker, Rising, Revengeance. Like, yeah, I would really like to see those games get updated again. And for new games, I would say, even though it would somewhat be a remake, you could make a brand new game with Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. And these are actually the direct prequels to Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation 1, and I would say they are in very important parts of the timeline, and not enough people actually know about them. And I don't blame them because, like, they are very old and dated, and some people can simply just ignore them. So I really do think if Konami does the remakes well, and they do well by the gamers and the consumer, like, I really do think people will be up for them to give them a chance to do another new Metal Gear Solid game. Because we also do have to remember about Metal Gear Survive, and that wasn't very good. But we did have Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, which wasn't done by Kojima, and that was relatively good. And I wouldn't even mind a remaster or a remake to that game because I think it's in like a little small pocket of the universe, but it's not really considered canon to some people. But since the man who made that game is working on the remakes, I guess he can at this point, and I would say you can give that game a real second chance and give us like proper cutscenes instead of the whole comic book looking cutscenes, because we do have to be honest, like Portable Ops was on the PSP and same for Peace Walker. They both used like comic book graphics for the cutscenes because it was limited on what they could do with that type of technology at the time. But with the technology that they have right now, you can go balls to the walls with it and give those two spin or three spin-offs, including Rising Revengeance, a proper like makeover. Just don't add any of the Western politics nonsense, please. Just don't. Just ignore them. Stay true to your original source material and your creations, and you're good. You don't need to listen to the Westerners saying you need to modernize it for modern audiences. You don't need to do that. The games were damn near perfect in my opinion. So, like I said, I wouldn't mind getting remakes to all of them. Metal Gear Solid 1. If they don't do any of the spin-offs, or Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, or Metal Gear 1 or 2, they'll probably just go straight to Metal Gear Solid 1 next. So I wouldn't mind that either, because Metal Gear Solid 1 is a beloved game across the community, even in gaming. It's considered a classic even with Metal Gear Solid 3 as well. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the remake. I am down for more remakes and can't wait to see more. Can't wait to see when we can get a volume collection or volume 2 collection. I would really like to see that, please, with Metal Gear Solid 4 on that, if that's possible, because I know the PS3 was hard to program for back in the day. I would really like to play Metal Gear Solid 4 again with the Octo camo. But yes, folks, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you fans of the Metal Gear Solid franchise or not? Are you going to be picking up Metal Gear Solid Delta? And would you like to see more remakes and remasters to the franchise? Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.